Welcome to the Labyrinth. My guest today is Vidushi K. Vrinda Acharya, who is a renowned Carnatic vocalist. In addition to being a Carnatic vocalist, she is also a scholar, researcher, writer, Sanskritist, and teacher. If you find this podcast interesting, do like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon. If you want to become a member of the Labyrinth community, hit the join button. Without further delay, let's begin. Vidushi K. Vrinda Acharya ji, welcome to the Labyrinth.
Yes, Namaste, Pratham. Very happy to be on your podcast.
So I am very new to these, terminologies. I've seen many of your videos. Some of these terminologies that you use, I'm not very familiar with that. So I'll be asking some questions about that. But first, I want to know, when did you begin your journey with music?
Hmm, that's a very tough question to answer because in any traditional South Indian family, music is like it's invariably a part of your upbringing. Uh, but I belong to a family where I didn't have many professional musicians, in my family, like my parents or even my aunts and uncles. They were all lovers of music,
Mm.
deep connoisseurs of music, but none of them were professional musicians. So initially, that focus wasn't there. Music was an integral part of the upbringing, and it was a part of our daily routine, whether it is listening to music or learning music or practicing music. But that focus towards taking up music as a profession wasn't there initially. And then several years passed by, and gradually that interest developed, and I became more and more attracted to the great art and science of Carnatic music. And at different levels, I was showing signs of promise. I was showing a lot of potential, and that gave my parents the confidence, and that gave me also the confidence that I can pursue this professionally and seriously. And that is how it all happened. And of course, I went to better gurus, and I kept on graduating slowly, step by step. And initially the idea was I would pursue another career or profession, and have music as another secondary profession. But then I worked as a faculty, as a commerce and management faculty, for several years, and then I quit my job and took music full time.
Okay, okay, very nice. Earlier we were talking, and I found out that you are from Udupi. So
Yeah.
how was your upbringing in Udupi?
No, I have born and brought up in
Ba-
Bangalore, but I
Okay, okay.
always had my ties and connection with Udupi. We have our ancestral home there. So my parents were associated with the Udupi Ashtamatas, and we were closely involved with a lot of activities. And there was always that religious background, that samskara, what we call, it was there in the family. And we had a lot of swamijis visiting us, and that constant connection. I owe it to my parents, for giving me that cultural ecosystem, and it has added so much of value to my life.
Okay. What attracted you to Carnatic music?
um, See, Carnatic music is something. It is it is a science. It is an art which has a multi-dimensional character, I would say, and it is one of the most sophisticated and intricate systems of music in the world. And the antiquity and the sublimity, the very character of Carnatic music, it attracts anyone, I would say. Anyone who's exposed to it in the right way cannot escape its attraction, is what I feel. And initially it was like, as I said, music was a part of our family, and uh, it was invariably, you have a girl child in the family, you put her to a music class.
Mm.
And if you have a male child in the family, put him to a mridangam class, something like that, art in some form. And it was always associated with culture, and of course it is, even now it has to be associated with culture, particularly Carnatic music. Any form of Indian art is inseparable from the cultural background. So and as I said, that at several points of time, I used to listen to a lot of concerts, I used to attend a lot of concerts, I used to interact with many musicians. I got the opportunity to engage with so many of my peers who were also learning Carnatic music, and it slowly opened up different layers. And every time I felt, oh, this is so beautiful, this is so rich, and I couldn't just take myself off it. Uh, it was attracting me at every point, whether it is the richness of the raga system, the intricacy and the complexity of the tala system, or even the richness and the variety of the compositional forms that are a part of the Carnatic music system, the aspects of manodharma, what we call as creative music, which makes Carnatic music what it is. And added to that, the bhakti element, the aspect of devotion, which is the core of Carnatic music. So these are some of the things which attracted me to Carnatic music. And it's a big ocean, and I feel I'm swimming in it, and it's endless. And every time, uh, every concert or every learning is an experience by itself, and it adds so much of value to what I am.
Okay. Yeah, after hearing all these terminologies, I feel like there is so much to learn about Carnatic music, and it's very a sophisticated art form. Uh,
Yes.
and sometimes, do you ever feel that a person's psychology, the way the person acts, depends on the kind of music they listen to?
Very much, very much. You brought out a very relevant point.
Mm,
Basically, any art, why does anyone engage in any artistic pursuit? Whether it is practice of the art form, or if it is music, listening to an art, listening to music, or watching a dance recital, or seeing a beautiful piece of painting or sculpture. Why does anyone engage in artistic pursuit? The idea is to go from something which is concrete to something which is more abstract, something which is known to something unknown, from something which is temporary to something which is deeper, which is more eternal. So you would want to elevate yourself, and that's the reason you engage yourself in an artistic pursuit, whether it is practice of art or appreciation of art.
okay.
So the very foundation of Indian art has always been, entertainment is one aspect. It is definitely there. We cannot take away that aspect. The basic goal or the aim of any art form, whether it is Indian or Western or whatever, any part of the world, is to entertain. But in India, the outlook is something which is totally different. Rather than entertainment, we always looked at art as a means of elevation, as a means of providing a deeper experience. And that is where Carnatic music stands, away from the rest. It stands apart, and it has a very exalted status compared to the different musical systems across the globe. And the spiritual dimension and the aspect of devotion or bhakti is that which gives Carnatic music its essential character. Most other forms of music, I mean, non-Indian forms of music, but not the traditional ones, but I would say the modern ones, are aimed at providing entertainment, aimed at providing only sensual pleasures, satisfy your you know eyes, satisfy your ears, and get to a higher state. But when it comes to Indian art, the outlook is to provide a deeper experience which will elevate you and which will take you beyond. It will take you to a higher state of existence. It will let you experience something deeper and something higher. So coming to your point on the kind of music having the impact on the mind, I would definitely say a person who listens to Carnatic music in its purest form, in its most chaste form, original form, will definitely have his nervous system totally relaxed, and music has so much of educative as well as therapeutic value. So it is known to cure so many diseases. It can calm the mind, it can bring down agitation, it can even help you with depression, anxiety, these kind of things. So it can give a lot of positivity, and that is the value that art should bring about in any society, is what I feel.
Yes. It is almost impossible to be angry while listening to Carnatic music.
Exactly. You cannot be agitated, you cannot be angry, you cannot be jealous, you cannot be insecure. These kind of feelings will never come to you. I mean, Carnatic music is an art form, is a musical system which needs some amount of training to be able to understand and appreciate it. But that being said, it can even appeal to a layman. It can even appeal to someone who has not had any experience or has not had any training when it comes to listening or appreciation of Carnatic music. It can even touch the heart of a layman. So, as you said, when you're listening to Carnatic music, you can never feel agitated. You can never feel, you're insecure or depressed or sad. And that's the reason why anybody goes to a Carnatic music concert,
Okay.
to take you away from the worldly the monotony of your day to day life, and to elevate you, and
Hmm.
that is what it does.
Okay. And apart from music, you're also interested in ancient Indian literature. You have an MA degree in Sanskrit. How
Yeah.
did you get interested in Sanskrit?
Again, I would give credit to my upbringing and the kind of atmosphere I had at home. But none of my family members studied Sanskrit so deeply as I did. But they had all learned the basics of Sanskritam at some point in time, in school or college or whatever. But I was the only one who took it, to the next level, I would say. And initially, I attended, other than my regular Samskrita classes, in school and college, as my first language or whatever. I was attracted to the language of Samskrita because of its structure. The very structure of Samskrita language is so perfect, and it is such a polished and refined and sophisticated language. There's a saying which says Samskritya Samskritya Padani Utsrajyante iti Samskritam. Every word is polished, refined, and samyak kritam. One that which is made well. The word itself says samyak kritam is Samskritam. And anyone who has an aesthetic sense of mind, an analytical approach, a logical bent of mind, will definitely enjoy learning Sanskritam.
Okay.
And these are the different aspects of Sanskritam language that attracted me to it. And initially, I was very lucky and I was very fortunate to have my association with many Sanskrit scholars, traditional Sanskrit scholars who are experts in let's say Vyakarana, Tarka, Alankara Shastra, and these kind of Natya Shastra, and these kind of various branches of Sanskritam. And that made me take up my Sahitya. You have these private exams in Sanskritam, like the Pratama Kavya Sahitya, and I did my Sahitya, and I enjoyed every bit of it. The learning process, the preparation for the exams, and the classes, and the kind of discussions that I used to have with my teachers and with my peers. Every bit of it was so enriching. And then I took up my MA just to get a. In fact, MA was much easier and of much lesser level compared to my Sahitya. But I did my MA to get a master's degree, and of course I enjoyed that too. And after that, it has been I have. Samskrita and Sangeeta are like two pillars of my life, I would say,
mm,
and they complement each other. And I base my life on these two. I consider these two as the assets, as things which have added so much value to my life.
mm. What do you think we can do to revive Sanskrit language in modern India?
Yeah, first of all, the concept of modernity is, I would say, it is kind of skewed, it is kind of wrongly understood. Modernism doesn't mean that you have to shun anything that is ancient and traditional. The first thing. And there are certain things. See, Sanskritam is not just a language; it is a repository of knowledge, and it has so much to offer for humanity across generations, and it has so many things which are universal and eternal. It is, and coming to Samskrita, Samskrita is the heart and soul of Indian civilization, I would say. Without Samskrita, there is no Samskriti, and it is that force. It is not just a language, but a force. It is the essence which has given India its exclusive, spiritual, civilizational, intellectual, and aesthetic identity. So Samskrita has so much to offer. There are so many sciences, ancient texts which are relevant even today. You have any domain, any aspect of any branch of science. If you take, where you take astronomy, you take astrology, you take mathematics, you take chemistry, you take medicine, you take musicology, you take economics. It's all there. You have Arthashastra, you have Rasayana Shastra, you have Sangeeta Shastra, you have Jyotisha. There is so much. And the very language is scientific. To give you a small example, it's a language of etymology. Every word that is used in Sanskrita comes from a root, and it can be etymologically explained. It can be traced to a root, and every word means something. It is not just random words. For example, the word for fire in Sanskrita. Why is fire called fire in English? No one knows. We're all using, everyone says fire, so it is fire. That's it. Why is this called a table? Why is this called a chair? No, it's just usage. But in Sanskrita, the aspect of etymology is so deep. Coming to that example, Agni, it is called Agni. Fire is called Agni. Why is it called Agni? Every word tells you a unique character or unique quality of that aspect that you are referring to. Ga means movement. Aga means that which does not move. Ni means nayati, that which takes or that gives movement to that which does not move. And that is an exclusive quality of Agni, of fire.
Oh,
It is fire which gives movement to inert objects. Objects which are, not Chaitanya, if they have to get Chaitanya, it is because of Agni. The human body, we have Agni. The moment Agni goes, this becomes just a body, right? And another word for fire is Anala. So what does this Anala mean? Alam in Sanskrit means enough. Analam means not enough. So that talks about another quality of fire, which says whatever you offer, to fire, it just devours it. It just, reduces it to ashes. So it's always, it's never enough for Agni. So these are some of the, salient features of this beautiful language, which has so much to offer for the intellectual. It gives so much of food for thought. So I don't think Sanskritam is something, there is no point in declaring it as a dead language. And of course, that is a, Western construct. Sanskritam is not a dead language. It is a living and ever growing language, according to me. Every attempt was made to kill it, rather, by our invaders. So Sanskritam is, coming back to the same point, it's not just language, it is so much more, and it enriches and adds value to our life, at different levels. and it is up to us how we make use of it, how we apply it to our day-to-day lives, how we bring it to our mainstream education system. So that's about it.
Okay. You have studied a lot about ancient India, its culture, language, art, architecture. So when you compare the glory or the the things that ancient India had to offer to modern India of today, do you ever get disappointed or disturbed?
Very much, very much. A very valid point. Of course, I get disappointed. I feel sometimes ashamed, thinking of what we were and what we are today. And at various levels, at different stages in history, the way we have lost our identity, the way we have lost our individuality, and the way we have just given up. Of course, there has been a lot of sacrifice and resistance and contribution, and great souls who have added so much to our tradition and were still doing it. My due respects to all of them. But when it comes to a larger picture, the civilization as a whole, the common man, we have lost so much. We have failed our tradition, I would say, and we are not even aware. And I would attribute it to um, the continuing colonial mindset that we have. We were under foreign rule for about 1,000 years, more than 800 to about 800 to 1,000 years. We were under Islamic rule, and then we were under the colonial rule. So that hangover is still there. We still feel anything that comes from outside India or anything that comes from the West is greater than something which we have, in our indigenous culture. So we have a lot of inferiority complex, I feel. We always seek validation from the West. We always seek acceptance from some kind of the so-called the modern framework, which is again very skewed, and so we need to properly define these things. What is modernism? What is tradition? Why will tradition be outdated? Why should it be outdated? Is modernism the only way forward? You have to put questions, to see whether these things, the kind of beliefs that we are basing our life on, do these beliefs or do these ideas really make any sense?
Okay. Okay. And one thing about modernism is that it may provide many convenience for
Exactly.
young people. So
Exactly. And
the
in that convenience, we even don't think what we have lost. So with one convenience comes a lot of other negative things which we don't see, but we will realize it much later. And by then it will be too late.
okay. So the young person might ask, if we go back to our roots, what will we gain? Because they will think they'll ask a practical thing. Modernity provides convenience. What does going back to tradition offer?
Okay. Is convenience the only goal of life?
No, it's not.
It's not, right? I mean, the outlook that we see mostly now is, it's a capitalistic society, with more focus on materialism and accumulation of wealth and convenience and luxuries and whatnot. But we also see that the richest people and the people with the maximum amount of luxuries and conveniences in this world are the highly dissatisfied souls. They are directionless, and they have a big vacuum inside them. They have a lacuna. They have some kind of a bigger question about what is life. I have everything, but there's no peace of mind.
Mm,
This kind of problem we come across with many rich families and rich people around us. So again, coming back to arts, culture, and tradition. So what is life without all these? Is life all about accumulating wealth, and getting richer, 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 and having conveniences. No,
Okay.
a human being is a complex mechanism, and the physical plane, he exists in the physical plane, and then there is an intellectual plane, and then there is an emotional plane, and then there is a spiritual plane. And this is what our Upanishads say, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. So all this comes from our tradition, right?
Mm,
So these are eternal principles, universal principles. These never become outdated. There might be a difference in the way we take it and way we adopt it into our daily lives, but there is absolutely, I would say, it is rather foolishness to just brush it aside as something which is outdated and irrelevant, and it doesn't offer anything in the modern society. I think we are losing a lot by doing that.
okay.
And as I said, we will realize it at some point in our lives.
Mm, okay. Uh, what are your metaphysical beliefs about God, afterlife, and existence?
Uh, I don't have any concrete beliefs as such. I definitely believe in the existence of God. I'm a, you know, I'm an astika.
Okay.
So, but it's a journey. It's. I wouldn't say I have already reached there, and I am not even sure whether I will reach there. And music is one vehicle, which it's one medium which always helps me experience that ultimate reality. And that experience is inexplicable, I would say. I cannot put it in words. I cannot say, this is how God is, or this is how God should be for everyone. It's something which is very personal to me. And it's a journey.
Mm,
So I see music through God, and I see God through music.
mm, yes. Some things cannot be explained, they can only be experienced.
It can only be experienced. So it's an experiential reality for me
Okay.
personally.
Okay. Why did you launch, or what was the intention of launching a Prabodha series on YouTube?
Okay. Uh, at different levels, I was seeing, people around me, being Hindus or being Indians, they have no sense of identity, and they are so ignorant about so many aspects relating to our history, our civilization, our culture. And I was seeing there was so much, they were directionless, and they were either feeling guilty and ashamed of being who they were, or they were constantly in a zone of I don't know what is right, I don't know what it is all about. And thanks to our education system, we have all through, we have only studied distorted history. We have only glorified our invaders, and with no sense of pride being instilled in our young minds. So the sacrifices and the great things achieved by our ancestors were never told to us. So the greatness of the sciences, the arts, the culture, the way of life, the profundity, the amount of depth and the knowledge base that we had was never even taught to us in schools. And much of what I know, I have learned it out of my self interest, out of my academic whatever school or college. So a lot of things I got to know after I was 25 or after I was 30, and I'm still learning a lot of things. So I started Prabodha with an intention of making our people aware of small, small realities, which will make them feel proud of being a Hindu, or feel proud of being an Indian, which will help them establish a connection with the tradition, and which will make them feel that they are a part of this rich culture.
Okay.
And smaller aspects, like the kinds of philosophical systems that we had, the kind of sciences that we had, the day to day the aspects of life that that we followed in ancient India. These are some of the things which I wanted to offer on a platter, in small dosages, which will help people to get rid of their ignorance, and feel connected, and feel happy and feel proud of being what they are.
Okay.
And so far I've, it's been very well received, and I have many more ideas. And with my busy schedule with performance and teaching and other things, I often don't get time to do my Prabodha videos regularly. But of course it has been very well received.
Mm. Okay. Uh, what do you mean when you say Hindu or Sanatan Dharma? To you, is this Hinduism, or is Sanatan Dharma just a religion, or is it a civilization, or is it a culture? Because someone like Savarkar will say Hinduism is less of a religion and more of a geographical culture. So, this word Hindu or Sanatan Dharma, what does it mean to you?
Of course, I go by what Savarkar says. It's not a religion, because religion is an organized, system of people coming together, and they are affiliated to a particular, a church or a whatever, a mullah or whatever. So the concept of religion came with Abrahamic religions.
Mm,
But with Sanatana Dharma, it is, of course, a geographical concept, and it is more of a civilizational, identity. And I would associate all of it with the Vedas. According to me, it is Sanatana Dharma is nothing but the Vaidika, the Vedic culture.
mm,
So all that we have today, whether it is arts or culture or literature or our sciences or our day-to-day life, our festivals, our rituals, everything is Vaidika in nature. So it's all from that big umbrella of the
mm,
Vedas. So Sanatana Dharma, according to me, is Vaidika Dharma, and it is our. And I feel we should, associate ourselves. We should align to that Vedic ideology. And because Vedas are a Paurusheya, and Vedas are a body of knowledge which talk about the deepest philosophical truths, which are applicable not just to a particular group of people
mm,
living in a particular geographical location, but they are applicable to the whole of humanity.
mm,
So back then, several centuries ago, when Islam and Christianity were not even, there, it was just Sanatana Dharma, right? It was
mm,
just the Vedic way of life. And that extended, it was not just the India that we have today. That extended from, Afghanistan to up to, Southeast Asia. And we find those elements of culture and civilization even now in these regions.
mm,
And the kind of influence that Sanatana Dharma has had on the life of people, over the centuries is something phenomenal. And it exists today because it still has value.
okay. Uh, a lot of astikas can contribute to Sanatan Dharma. Do you think even Nastikas, even people who are non-believers or people who are confused about their beliefs, do you think even Nastikas can contribute to Sanatan civilization?
Are you one by by any chance?
I wouldn't say I don't believe in God. I would say I am confused about my own beliefs.
Correct. I mean, it's always good to be confused because you are constantly seeking.
Mm,
Ours is a culture, ours is a land of seekers.
mm,
So we have always, we are always in a path. We are in pursuit of something higher. We are constantly seeking. We are constantly searching. We are constantly looking inwards. So in that journey, so much of confusion can come up, so much of contradiction can come up, so much of so many things might seem very unclear, and that happens, and that's very natural. And Sanatana Dharma is something which doesn't say it's not based on a rigid belief system.
mm,
It doesn't say this is what it is. It doesn't give you 10 commandments and say that you have to believe in it to be a Hindu or to
mm,
be a Sanatani. It gives you that liberty. It gives you that it provides a broad ecosystem within which you can think for yourself, you can evolve as a person, you can evolve as a spiritual seeker.
mm,
And that kind of liberty or that kind of facility is probably allowed only in Sanatana Dharma.
mm,
And you find your path.
mm,
And every person has a spiritual ideology, every person has an Ishta Devata,
mm,
and it is all provided, in the tradition. It's not something we are making of now. It's been there for ages, it's been there for centuries. And the very essence of Bhagavad Gita is questioning. Arjuna went on questioning.
Mm.
He didn't just, and at the end of it, Krishna says, Yatha ichchasi tata kuru. I have told you all these things, but at the end of it, you think and you do what you deem fit. He never said, I am God. He said, I am God, but he never said, you just have to follow, you just have to stop thinking and simply follow what I say.
You, you have to say all this to my relatives.
Of course, I mean, a lot of things are also misrepresented, and they're skewed and misunderstood.
Mm,
Sanatana Dharma is all about giving that scope and opportunity for every individual to evolve, is what I feel. And the various dimensions of being a human is explored to the maximum limit, in ancient Sanatana Dharma. And that is what makes me go back to our history, our tradition, and it always makes me feel awesome and so elated to feel that I'm a part of this rich culture and I belong to this civilization which has given so much to humanity.
mm. Uh, can Indian philosophical teachings help people find purpose in their life?
Of course, it can.
Mm,
In fact, that is the only thing which can help find anyone find purpose in their lives, because the fundamentals of what is the nature of Brahman, what is the nature of Atman, what is the nature of this creation, what is life after death, what happens, in the cycle of creation. Everything is so beautifully laid down. These kind of abstract principles and lofty ideologies are explained so beautifully in our Vedas and Upanishads. So it is up to us to, if you're really a seeker, you have to go and you have to go in search of a guru. You have to put in that effort. It cannot be an armchair philosophy. You cannot just sit with all your comforts and luxuries and conveniences of life and then blame the tradition, saying that it is no good, it is irrelevant, it doesn't. You do your research and then talk. This is what I tell most of my people who just dismiss anything that is related to ancient Indian culture and civilization. They say it is, oh, it was all those times, it's not relevant now. Samskrita is not relevant now. Art is not relevant now. So what is life all about? It is just going to office and making money, and at the end of it you are left in a big well where you're nowhere.
mm.
So you have to go back to those principles which have been laid down by our ancestors.
Okay.
So
Yes.
philosophy is not a bunch of beliefs, I would say. It is the experiential reality of great seers, mystics, and yogis, which they had realized from being in higher states of consciousness with deeper yogic insights, which probably I and you cannot realize in the present state of consciousness. So we have to elevate, or we have to graduate to that level to be even capable of realizing those truths. Only then we will be able to tune ourselves to that kind of a vibration.
Okay.
So we exist on a very lower plane with the modern day traffic and sound and pollution and this mad rush towards going to office and making money and making a livelihood, paying your bills. No, we are all in our stuck in our mundane routine, right?
Yes.
So that which takes us beyond, and art is something which comes there. It helps you elevate. It takes you away from temporal existence to a realm or domain of ethereal joy, eternal joy, or bliss, what we call as. And from there you can take off to the higher plane of spirituality or philosophy.
Okay.
And the entire philosophical thought process which has happened over the centuries is nothing but a documentation of the experience that different great men and women have had. And if it enriches your life, take from it. But if it doesn't, wait for the right time. That's what
Mm.
I say. We have no reason to dismiss it off, saying that it is worthless.
Yes. Yeah. It's better to do research rather than to come to a conclusion.
Exactly, exactly.
So, based on everything that you have learned in your life, what have you chosen as the purpose for your life?
Purpose of my life, I would say, is to is it's basically experiential. I would want to spend more amount of time being in a higher state of deeper experience. The more and more I am able to reach there, I feel the purpose of my life is served. And this happens to me. For me, the path is music.
Okay.
Different people might choose different paths. There are people who are highly spiritual but have zero knowledge of music or even zero appreciation for music. Fine, it is their path. But music is one medium or means which takes you to a higher plane, which gives you the higher level of experiences, and which refines and purifies your mind at different levels. So, my purpose of life is to contribute to the society in a way that every person is able to lead a meaningful life, is able to lead a life of culture and values, not of just money and materialism. Of course, that is needed to, for a living. I don't totally dismiss saying that money is not at all important, but everything has its place. Ours was a civilization which said dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. So artha is one of them, not the whole thing. Okay, and artha and kama without the basis of dharma is considered it's actually not good. You cannot just have the pursuit of artha and kama without the basis of dharma. It will be adharmic. So dharma is the first purpose of life, and after all these three have been achieved, the ultimate is the goal of liberation or the goal of emancipation, and that is moksha.
Okay. I really enjoyed this conversation and I also learned a lot from this past 40, 45 minutes talking to you. Thank you very much for coming on the Labyrinth.
It's my pleasure that I got a platform to share my thoughts, and it was a very engaging conversation with you. Thank you so much.